let's go to our guest first before we even get into the hullabaloo here. Matt, how you doing? I mean, how is everything on your side for E3? How's everyone feeling? How are you feeling? Talk to me a little bit.
This is my birthday weekend, so it was the perfect time to unwind.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. After a couple like 15-hour days, I was just really happy to unwind with some easy podcasts. So it was overall good. I thought this E3 was, comparatively speaking, a little bit lacking. It was nice to have it back, but it was definitely not as powerful. But there was some good stuff this year. I thought Xbox had a good show, and so I'm excited to get into all of that. But overall, I'm kind of in that cool down phase. There's not going to be major announcements for some time, so I don't feel to be like I need to be as attentive to everything gaming news for now. Sure. You can kind of just sift through everything and discuss. I like it when it's like this. There's a calm period. Last year, it felt like there was too many opportunities for there to be things, so I was never resting. So I'm enjoying this period right now.
Yeah, for Xbox especially, I would assume it's pretty nice because it seems like they've gone. So now you can sleep for a little while, man.
That, and also for our show, I talked about it with Dustin a little bit off the air, but I was saying, we were getting to this rhythm of Xbox, Bethesda. It was just kind of this exchange of those topics because everyone was waiting for the hat to drop, and finally we have games, right? We have games to talk about. So I'm really excited about that as well. We have true subjects, kind of like you guys do with Sacred Symbols. You can get into all the different exclusives happening. We didn't really have that, so now we do. And I think it's going to sort of change the feel of our show, which I'm really excited about too.
Yeah, people have always, not always, but often opined, like, how do you do a console-specific show? And I'm like, for PlayStation, it's always been very easy. I imagine Nintendo would be much more difficult and Xbox, but not this new Xbox. So I agree. I thought Xbox did really well, and I was a little taken aback by how some people didn't agree, that they thought that it was like, well, none of these games are coming out anytime soon. It's like always the goalpost seems to be moving for Microsoft, and I felt I feel like they did a really nice job. Chris, how are you feeling about everything? Not only Xbox related, but whatever you might feel after E3. Are you feeling relaxed and rejuvenated and excited?
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to not have so much crushing work, or like so much to pay attention to. I really echo a lot of Maddie's sentiment. I thought overall, E3. I think Microsoft and Nintendo did pretty well, but this was like one of those weird years where everybody else brought nothing. And whatever they brought was like very weird. Like, here's a janky 20-minute Guardians of the Galaxy demo, or like here's a Take-Two interactive Zoom call. Just a very bizarre, like off, like it's just off. Like everybody else was just confusing. And I think that's why this year feels comparatively just like really lacking, even though Microsoft had, I think, probably their strongest show in a while. But overall, I'm feeling pretty good about like the big players. Obviously, Sony hasn't gone, but we know obviously that Horizon and God of War are like relatively imminent. So,
I think Hideo Kojima's Silent Hills, abandoned.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But
I read up about that on Friday before our ham radio, and I was like, wow, this actually does look like it's plausible.
Yeah.
I washed it away because I was like, there's no way. But it's now I just saw Konami followed Hideo Kojima. There's a little update on that front. I'm like,
I saw that.
Shit.
I saw that. And I believe. Yeah. It's funny, by the time this goes live, I think we're going to have a pretty good idea of what's going on with that game. Because it's just a day away. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there, that there's that little piece of mystery too. But Dustin, we haven't heard from your sultry dulcet tones yet. I'm curious, how are you feeling about everything right now?
I'm feeling good. E3, it's funny because last year we were like, man, don't show up unless you have something. And it only got worse this year by a considerable, like many multitudes. Like on Sacred, we were joking about the Take-Two presentation, of course, and Bandai Namco and their one game. And so on that front, it's like, it's good in a way that, obviously it's good that COVID is winding down. It's not over, but it's winding down, because I don't know if I can do another online E3 like this, where it's just like, I don't know, maybe it'll be just as bad because it's kind of like they've opened the box of everyone having their own presentation, and that's not going away. But in addition to that too, I don't know, did any of you guys watch even just a small sliver of E3's actual presentation.
No.
It was weird, like awkward. And, you know, it's no offense to the hosts. I think the hosts did fine with what they were presented with, but it was just so obvious that what they were doing was unnecessary. And in addition, I don't know, I'm curious to hear some updates from people in the real press, we'll say, that had they had the virtual booths and stuff, because I know that before E3 people were like, this seems completely useless. So it seemed just kind of like E3 was trying to be like, hey guys, even though we're not in person, don't forget about us. We have something to provide. And then clearly that was just an awkward, very long stream and crappy online booths. So
yeah,
they need to be back in person, and they need to do it right next year, or else. I mean, we've been saying forever that E3 is probably in trouble, but next year seems to be the do or die.
I miss the in-person thing, man. Like I was even just like looking at like old videos of like the crowd reacting to like Death Stranding's reveal and shit. And, like people are like, and it's just, I don't know, man. There's a fun energy to that like, even though like, even like with the Xbox show and like that being a pretty good presentation, I was just like, man, I wonder what it would have been like if people could react to this stuff live. Like I wonder if there would have been like, I wonder what would have gotten like a lot of cheers. I wonder what would have gotten what would have went silent. Like I wonder, I'm genuinely curious how a live crowd, for instance, would have reacted to like Contraband, you know, something that was just kind of confusing in like a digital show. And and just like, like, I don't know. I hope by next year, I assume by next year, they'll be in person again if they can afford to do it.
Right.
But, you know, that would be ideal.
Chris, you bring up a good point about this reaction, because now the only reactions we see are from people streaming and online, and many of them are genuine. Most of them probably aren't. Like I was watching Twitch put out this little thing of like people reacting to different announcements. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Some of these, like the level of reaction to some of these minute things, it's like, we get it. The reactions.
Contraband! Avalanche! Yeah, like a lot of real excitement about that. But no, I totally agree with you. You know what's the ironic thing about this is I've been a naysayer about E3 forever, and yet I don't know that anything could have happened to have helped E3 more than COVID. Because I think people were like, nah, we're over it. And they had this whole thing where, well, we can still go to PAX. There's still Gamescom. TGS is still this big thing. There are others, but E3, fuck it. It doesn't make any sense anymore. And then everyone kind of went silent. And then E3 was what it was. And no one had those ulterior paths to take. And now I think everyone kind of misses E3 a little bit. And in some circuitous way, I feel like COVID actually saved E3. Because I think next year there will be much more interest in a cohesive 3-day event. Plus, you know, the because that was the bummer to me. Was it was always exciting. Like I told you, when I was at IGN, we would fly to LA on Saturday. On Sunday, all the press conferences would begin, and then Monday there would be a couple more, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday were the games, and that was it. And this just kind of stretched out to such a degree that it was hard to even know when we were covering E3 and when we weren't. So
a lot of companies announced all their dates and times like the week before. It felt very strung together last minute. I don't think we had Capcom's date until like Wednesday or Thursday the week before. Like it was just, it was really bizarre.